In this episode, brought to you in part through the patronage of Ariya Norinth, I'm trying a little bit something different because of late I've felt let down, failed, and I don't think I'm the only one. In fact, I would say that there's a whole generation of us who feel that people have failed us, have let us down. Yes, there are so many of you who have failed us millennials. You failed us millennials. Who am I talking about here? Well, to start, our parents. Yes, that's right. You failed us, parents. Right from the get-go, you told us that the world was our oyster, that we had unlimited possibilities before us, that if we went to college and got a degree, we could get the job, the career we always wanted, could afford whatever we wanted. All while you kill the economy and the housing market, and they blame us for killing the napkin industry. You lied to us over and over. Now we're in endless debt, working dead-end jobs we hate, and a house, a car, a boat, pipe dreams for most. Though perhaps you shouldn't be totally to blame here. After all, a good amount of you have nowhere to go either. Gen X, you're much like us, only far more ignored. Just waiting for your opportunity, one that seemingly will never come. But it's okay. Education doesn't really matter in the private sector, only experience. Unless you happen to be over 40, and then you're making too much money, and it might even be harder to get a new job because you're not as educated on the newer stuff. Oh wait, is that you, Gen X? Yikes. And those of us who picked the long straws and grew in the loins of someone with an offshore account and a private chauffeur, not much better. I know such people. They can barely handle a savings account. They always know that mommy and daddy will be there to bail them out if needed. But mommy and daddy won't always be around, will they? You know that. They know that. You can only give someone a participation trophy for so long before you're just not there to give it at all. And then what happens? And that's not even the worst case. Some parents got so into their heads that they've ignored such practice advances as vaccinations. And now we have one of the worst measles outbreaks in years. What's next? Is a resurgence of the Black Plague right around the corner just because somebody didn't feel like vaccinating their kid? Or perhaps just those, maybe those drug-resistant super strains. Those seem fun. Some might say that religion is the answer. But, gotta say, religion, you failed us too. You failed us long ago. Pray all you want. I don't think anyone's up there listening. Or down here, depending on your religion affiliation. If there is a god, or gods, or deities, or whatever, they're pissed. Because I see no benevolence. I see no miracles. I don't see anything getting better anytime soon. Nor do I see any fate coming in to make things any better either. Things are not meant to be. Things happen because we make them happen. And we certainly can't seem to rely on any of those flouting religion. Those who hoard the gold, those who certainly don't help protect the children, those who believe any other religious belief is morally wrong, those who persecute and rape and pillage in the name of a god, those who say what we do is wrong because the words of a 2,000-year-old book have been interpreted to say so. We certainly can't rely on any of them. They have failed us repeatedly, and they will only continue to do so. You did us no better, teachers. Yes, you failed us, teachers. Do you know the nightmares that I wake up with most frequently? The ones that give me this cold sweat in the middle of the night? Nightmares about forgetting to do my homework, forgetting to study for an exam, forgetting even that I had a course to take, and that I find out at the very end of the marking period that there was this course I should have been attending the whole time, and I just never even went to it. I didn't even know it existed. I've been out of school for more than a decade, and I still get these nightmares. Still get them to this day. And for what? I mean, sure, remembering all the key dates of the American Revolutionary War really helps me get a job. And I can't tell you how helpful calculus has been raising a kid. That periodic table of elements, it sure comes in handy when I'm doing my taxes, doesn't it? Though I will say learning how to write was good. Thank you for that. And, I really do owe it to Mrs. Rhodia back in 3rd grade for having me write lines, "I will not talk in class," over and over every single night. That really helped drive the point home. Bless you for that, Mrs. Rhodia. But I suppose I can't really blame you teachers. You can only do what those above you, the higher ups, the politicians, tell you what to do, what to teach, and really how to do it. So let's go a little higher up. The politicians. Yes, shocking no one, you failed us, politicians. You told us you want to help us. You want to make the world a better place for us. You represent us. You told us after the 9/11 attacks that we would be safe, that this would never happen again. But you couldn't defeat ISIS, could you? You couldn't defeat anyone despite spending billions of dollars every single year. What have you accomplished with your endless war? How have you made our way of life any better? And why do you continue to ignore the domestic terrorists, the ones that keep on killing us with weapons you refuse to do anything about because your pockets continue to get fatter and fatter with that NRA money? Though it looks like Big Tobacco's money may be running a little bit dry lately. That certainly seems to explain the gung-ho attitude that every state seems to have to raise the minimum age to purchase tobacco products, including cigarettes and vapes and all that, to 21 rather than 18. So now we have to be 21 to drink and to smoke, but it's still okay at 18 to buy a gun and kill someone, as long as it's with the government's express permission. That seems okay. That's not a failure at all. Though I guess you've been too busy focusing on the abortion issue. Maybe it wouldn't be such an issue if having a kid in this day and age didn't impact a person or family as much as it does. Or if there was a viable adoption solution that didn't cost even more money. Plenty want a child. Plenty can't have a child. Though, I have to say, I do applaud your focused attention on this matter. That and the gay rights issue. Trans rights, too. Such hot topics guaranteeing inalienable rights. Not like that's in any declaration of some sort. And you've definitely managed to assure that to women and people of color over the years. So, I trust you know what you're doing. And we certainly wouldn't want you to worry about lead pipes or collapsing bridges or every other part of our aging infrastructure, would we? But it's not just the individual politicians, is it? It's the government as a whole. And yes, you failed us, government, both at the state and the federal level. What are you doing to save the environment? What are you doing to give us an alternative energy solution? What are you doing to bring us jobs, to grow jobs? Have you even thought what this ever-growing national debt will do to those of us poised to take on the reins in the future? Do you even care? Have you even considered trying to balance the budget? Or is lowering taxes for the wealthy and ensuring exposed loopholes are never sealed so the effective tax rates are actually even lower all you can do? And what are you doing to regulate monopolies? Are you even bothering to do that anymore? Hello, Disney wants to say hi, wants to shake your hand. In my area, United Illuminating wants to say hello and shake your hand. And what have you done to battle drug cartels? No, I'm not talking about the ones in Mexico. The ones you seem to think don't know how to use a ladder. I'm talking the pharmacies in our very country. The ones both selling addictive opioids and the drugs to get people off of it. No, not a monopoly at all. Which reminds me, you failed us, doctors. You prescribe, and we trust you. We trust that you have only the best intentions. And yet you know how addictive those opioids are. And yes, you health insurers, you failed us as well. Because you approved the opioids. You approved the opioids and the countermeasures. More drugs to pump through our veins to counter what is already in there. And meanwhile, you raise prices each and every year, find new ways to cut costs, make record profits for your CEOs and other corporate bigwigs living in Oprah-sized homes, while those with cancer, those with chronic disorders can barely afford to live. Again, because those drugs, they're just so pricey. Need to support that R&D, right? I mean, I guess not everyone can be an Alexander Fleming or a history buff. We don't all have to put our names on buildings to be remembered, do we? But then, if we all did that, there'd be a lot of money lost, right? Back to getting your pockets lined. And don't think you're immune to it either, docs. Kickbacks, coupons, dinners, even strippers apparently. You love your little perks, don't you? It's all just a function of capitalism after all, right? And this is an area where someone else has failed us as well. Retailers. Yes, you failed us, retailers. You refuse to adapt to a changing world. And if you even try to put even a modicum of effort, you don't do it right. If I'm in your store and I'm looking for something that I want to buy right then in that moment, you don't tell someone to go online because why, for the love of God, would I go ever to your website? Why not go somewhere proven with great customer service and likely cheaper prices? I came to you because I want it now. I want it today. I need it now. And, I want to support humans. I want to support humans in my area. I don't want to support a company named after a river with a creepy smile in its logo. I don't. I try really hard not to, but you disappear, retailers. You give up. You don't play the capitalism game. And I know it's not entirely your fault. Healthcare costs have skyrocketed, minimum wage, while still being far too low for anyone to possibly afford a single-bedroom apartment anywhere in the nation today. It's still too high for you to pay workers and compete. And you can't possibly afford all the robots like the big companies can. Robots. Which, reminds me, you failed us, technology. I grew up thinking robots were our helpers and possibly our destroyers if we didn't handle them right. I mean, they could be anything really, but what are they today? Replacements for workers. And every day, major technology companies devise new ways to replace humans. And why shouldn't they? Get a computer to write your article, to edit your paper, to build your car, to massage your back, to drive you, to call you, to talk to you, to paint, to clean, to deliver packages. It's a lot cheaper. You don't have to pay for their healthcare now, do you? But when do we get RoboCop? Is that crossing the line? Do we really need humans to make those life or death, right or wrong decisions? Should we just trust our self-driving car to decide if we live or the kid accidentally skating into traffic does? And if we do, is it the AI or the programmer of that AI that we're putting our lives into? And speaking of RoboCop, you failed us, fiction. Books, movies, TV, you showed us countless worlds where life is better. But that was before. I look at our popular fiction now and I wonder, why are there so many dystopian societies? Why are there so many post-apocalyptic scenarios? Why aren't there Walking Dead? Why is The Walking Dead the most popular fiction around? It is so horribly sad and terrifying for our future. Is that what life is? Are we all just terrified of the future? Are we all living knowing that this is something that we could actually face in our future? There used to be a balance between good, optimistic fiction and the dark, oppressing, 1984-like fiction. Where has that balance gone? Is everything just crap now? I mean, when was the last time you read or saw something that showed scientific achievements in a positive light? But yet, when we think of science and tech, it's meant to make our lives easier, right? To entertain, to better the world. But has it? Will it? When? How much longer do we need to wait? Have smartphones made the world better? Has social media? Or have they driven depression and anxiety to all new highs, never before seen? What is the long-term effect of all this electricity that is around us at all times? Does it have anything to do with the increasing cancer rates, autism rates? Do we even care? This right here, this is a convenience. This is the world's information in our pocket. This is a video game console. This is YouTube, which, yes, you failed us, YouTube. Don't think I was going to let you go just because my video is housed on your little network there. You told us we can make content and make a living. We could get followers. We could get famous. A few of us have, by making videos of dead people in forests or of kids manipulated into performing for the camera. And these you promote. These you highlight. These you show as getting millions of views. But if someone steps out of line, if someone does something that you don't like, are they promoted? Do you just turn a blind eye to them? Are they even suppressed by your algorithm? Sometimes followers of a creator can't even find those videos. How do you expect anybody else to do it? And becoming rich? Forget about it. It's a joke. And God forbid we try to link to something like Patreon to grow and support ourselves. No, we can't do that. We can't possibly link out of YouTube. That's just bad for business. After all, if they link out, it's less likely that they're going to watch another video, right? But maybe all of that would be okay if you didn't fail us, millennials. Yes, we failed us, millennials. We are the most educated, most read, and possibly most social generation that has ever existed on this planet. we're also the most underpaid, the most underrepresented. We've allowed ourselves to be treated like children, to be handled, looked down on, coddled. We stay in our parents' homes until we're older, don't even really think about actually getting married, let alone moving out, moving on, getting high paid jobs, taking on official political business. Instead, we have to focus on getting menial jobs, bottom of the rung jobs, on trying to pay our seemingly endless student debt, when we can, of course, afford it around buying beer and breakfast and lunch and brunch and fourth meal and so on. We spend far too much time playing videos, complaining about movies, scrolling through social feeds, texting people we haven't seen in ages, or maybe we just saw them less than an hour ago. And we cry out, we complain, we know things are wrong, and yet we do nothing about it. We barely even vote. The one thing we can absolutely affect and we gloss over, we make a game of it. We pass it off as something forgettable, something that won't really matter, but it does. The idols of previous generations were entrepreneurs, outspoken figures looking to invoke change. Ours? Celebrities, gossipers, people who can't even maintain a steady relationship, let alone rule a country or offer a truly valid opinion. And I'm no better. I wholeheartedly include myself in this. But we need to make a change. We need to fight for better jobs. We need to fight for better representation. We need to fight for a better life. And not just for us, but for every generation that comes after us. However many generations do manage to come after us. I don't want to see another video like this 20 years down the line with my son looking back and saying, "You failed me, Dad. You did not do what you needed to do." But is this how we start? Is this even a start? Because if it is, it's kind of a piss poor one. This isn't even a comprehensive list. This is just a reacts. After all, this is me reacting to what I see, what I feel, what I get from my news feeds, from my social feeds, from the news, from my everyday life. Perhaps you have your own set of failures that you would like to expose. There is plenty that needs to be corrected. It's our mission, should we choose to accept it. Now, legit question here. If you are a millennial, have you watched through this far into the video? Or has your attention deficit gotten the better of you? I know, it's hard to watch longer videos. It really, truly is. Without going off on your phone, without going off and talking to someone, texting someone, to actually sit through a long presentation is difficult. But we have to do these things. You've probably drifted away. Maybe you left to leave a negative comment or put a thumbs down. I have a feeling that's likely the case for most. Again, we have failed us. And I fear that we will continue to do so. This has been a Drunk on Writing Reacts, and I think I need a beer. But if you enjoyed this episode, or if you hated it, please leave a comment below and let's have a discussion about this, because I think this is a very important issue and one that needs to be addressed. Or if you'd like, head on over to drunkonwriting.com and become part of the community there. Help me shape these videos. Help me build something special. But until then, cheers, and let's stop failing, shall we?